go. Set it up, ready to go. Here it is, Grind Podcast. Here solo dolo by myself this morning, trying to get y'all a little bit of content. I know Bag said he's gonna try to focus more on the league, so just try to give y'all some content where I can. If you are in the chat, appreciate you for coming out. If you're not in the chat, thanks for listening later. If this is something you want to be a part of, let me know. We just got to make it happen when we can. We know a lot of stuff is going on with the league, so I know some of the dudes that aren't in the league still want a little bit of content about the grind. So here we are. We're just gonna do a light scrub of all the teams, pipelines, team grades, just something to keep y'all engaged and curious about what's happening. I think the draft was a big success, especially after we started the redraft. Got a little more information, so let's get right into it. Let's not take too long. Mace took San Diego State University, so we'll pull them up real quick. And College Football GG is the website I'm using, not a paid sponsor, but just if you're hip, you're hip. It's a good tool. Got a lot of stuff on there for you to use to help you out during the dynasty. If you're not hip to it, or going forward, help you selecting teams, talk about pipelines, other stuff like that. But San Diego State University might be one of the best as far as pipeline wise. Campus lifestyle is an A. Academic prestige is a C. Static grade of an A, always going to keep them a little bit afloat above water, just because it'll always bring it up. It's nothing you can do to improve it. And if we go to athletic facilities, it's a D. So good chance to still upgrade it once you get a couple years in and bring up the prestige to 2.5 stars, 3 stars after winning some games. Mace did win 2 national championships with Virginia Tech last year, so we know he is capable of getting the job done. We'll go into the big one over here, Southern Cal, Tier 4 pipeline. There's not too many G5 schools, or G6 now, with the inclusion of the Pac-12, with a Southern Cal pipeline. Not only does he have a Tier 4 for Southern Cal, has Tier 2 for Northern Cal, Tier 1 for Pacific Northwest, but Tier 2 Nevada, Arizona, and the big one is North Texas. To have a 4 and Southern Cal is a big deal. 2 in North Texas and a crowded pipeline is also a big deal, just because he can sneak a couple 2-3 stars, maybe even poach a 4-star if somebody's not paying attention. And then in Southern Cal, having such a strong pipeline is really good, on top of they're changing the visits, how they work, so the proximity to home. I have really good actual proximity to home. Arizona, Nevada, Northern Cal, and Southern Cal, so visits will be cheap. I also think visits will be a big deal coming up this next year, especially now that they've changed it to your actual location versus the strength of your pipeline. So San Diego State is the first one. Athletic facilities is a D, academic prestige is a C, but that campus lifestyle an A. The rest of it, coach prestige will change as soon as you take over, so stability. Conference will also change once we get the custom conferences in, and then program tradition and stadium atmosphere, C and C on both of them. They said these should be changing, or the program tradition should be changing a little faster this year, based on the last couple years, not necessarily, that is brand exposure. Brand exposure will be changing more rapidly. So being that's a D, win a couple of games, get it out on a streak, maybe a playoff or 2, change. San Diego State is not necessarily on the hot seat, but one team to watch out for. Moving on to the team I picked. Washington State. Let's see if I can find them over here. Oh, and for San Diego State, let's not forget, and this spreadsheet is just a beta from the beta point, so we're just gonna use that for now. San Diego State 2,240 NIL points. So not bad. We'll see. Some of these teams we get might be under 1,000, might be closer to 1,000. So he might have enough space to do some upgrades, or even just have a little more to play with in recruiting. So I took Washington State, Tier 3 in Pacific Northwest. Big fan of that one. Got a Tier 3 in Southern Cal. I know Southern Cal is usually one of the more congested pipelines in recruiting for the grind for the G5 schools. There's a lot of West Coast G5 schools. Hawaii is not considered Pacific Northwest, but Alaska is. And then 2-star Utah, Tier 2 Northern Cal, Tier 2 Northern Texas is what I was kind of excited about as well. Maybe sneak a few linemen or some 3-stars that might be under recruited. And then 1 tier in East Texas if somebody's really interested. The thing that will be my downfall is more than likely Southern Cal recruits, the visits. The visits are probably going to hurt me the most as far as that, just because it's in Pullman, Washington. So if you don't know where that is, that's Eastern Washington. And it's quite a bit of ways from everything else, but it won't be far enough to be a disadvantage for Pacific Northwest, just more of the Southern Cal schools or Southern Cal recruits. If I could find it. I know my school grades aren't the greatest. Yeah, school grades aren't the greatest. D, C, C, C across the board. Conference prestige is probably going to change again, and then stadium atmosphere. So we'll see how that works out. But just average across the board, athletic facilities is C, probably the saving grace, and the campus lifestyle is C. So gonna really have to work on that moving forward. And then 2,350 for the NIL budget. So excited about that. Moving forward, we got Mumbo taking USF, big pickup since the redraft. Having a Tier 4 in Central Florida is huge. Access to all the great recruits, one of the strongest pipelines in the game, but at the same time, super congested. Got a battle with the CPU. Ohio State, Clemson, Miami, Florida State all got good pipelines down there. Proximity to home will be one of the better things for him. So something to keep an eye out. Good school, big stadium, but it really depends on how. I don't think the game codes their stadium post that great because it's a professional. So there we go. So we can do that. Yeah, stadium atmosphere is a D. So even though they got professional stadium, not the greatest. And then let's see, athletic facilities a C+, not bad. Brand exposure a D. Academic prestige a C+. Campus lifestyle C+. So good potential. One of the bigger schools for this G6 stuff. See what he does with it. Already has a decent roster down there. A little surprising, 1,670 for the NIL points, but it is what it is. It'll be enough to make something shake down there. Shouldn't be spending too many points right now. And NIL anyways, so moving on to Memphis. Get everything loaded up. With rebuild on this one, Bag got a pretty good one. Memphis, Tennessee, Tier 3, and Arkansas, Louisiana, Metro Atlanta, and Alabama. South Georgia Tier 1 and North Texas Tier 1. The grades aren't the best. He should be able to do a really decent job since it's only Vandy and Tennessee in the state. But I will say his proximity to home is going to be really good for the Metro Atlanta, the North Florida. The East Texas, maybe, depending on it. I'm curious how they code the Houston to Memphis. Really curious how they do that, but I think he's going to do really well as far as getting recruits in. Might not be the strongest tiers, a couple playoff wins. Your pipelines are upgradable through, depending on, I think it's 5 coach wins under CEO or program builder, one of the two. And then he does have a tier 1 in South Florida, so let's not oversight the location. Might be a big deal for him, just being able to get recruits in and not having to spend 40 points on visits. Looking at his team grades, academic prestige is a little low, so that's gonna hurt him in the long run, but stadium atmosphere, they have a great stadium. It is their own stadium, not an NFL stadium. Championship contender based on his roster, so he has a quality roster. Campus lifestyle is a C, and Memphis, so that's pretty good. And then athletics facilities is C minus. So one of the bigger programs for the G6. Not the greatest on the static grades, but the grades that can be improved might shoot them to the top really fast. 1,860 dynasty points, not the most, but not the least. Plenty to work with, plenty to move around and shake. So, bag with Memphis on next, bogey with Texas State. Texas State, another quality team. I know they got a good roster over there. Their pipelines, a lot of 1-tier pipelines, but these 2 tier 3 right here, that East Texas and North Texas, hotbed for recruits. On this college football website, if you would like, you can go over to the tools and then pipelines. We're already here. Shows you the best pipelines, just a lot of stuff. It shows you 7.2% of every 5-star comes from East Texas, 6.2 for 4 stars, and they produce 7% of all the 3 stars. So just think about that. They produce 7% of the 3 stars, and North Texas produce 6.4 of the 3 stars. Means there's plenty of talent down there. He just has to go get it. Plenty of talent. So if we go back, looking at Texas State, the 2 tier 3s in North Texas and East Texas, visits shouldn't be a problem. Southwest Texas doesn't produce that much, but then he has 1 tier in all the neighboring states, which is good enough just to get their attention. Also good enough to get some recruits in for visits. Ohio, a little bit of a shocker, but Ohio is a decent pipeline. We can go back to best pipelines and check, where Ohio is number 9, 4.8. So if you can pull some 3 stars out of there early, might be a little hidden gem for him. Going over to his dynasty points, 1,475, enough to get the ball rolling. It's as you can see, that number's starting to dwindle depending on who the school is. So let's not blow it all on recruiting, but keep in mind, sometimes you want to upgrade your facilities. Speaking of facilities, it's a D. So definitely could bring that up, improve the prestige. Once you improve the prestige, you get more NIL points. Once you get more NIL points, it's kind of a revolving door. Just how can you get to the more NIL points? The number one thing, winning. Winning will always solve that. The athletic facilities, academic prestige, I would like to see that a little higher. That sucks. Brand exposure can be changed easier. Campus lifestyle is a C though, so that's pretty good. Let's go. Program tradition is an F. So definitely got to do some winning there to bring up the prestige as a whole. But Not the worst we'll see, not the best, but serviceable with really, 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 really good, strong pipelines through Texas. Staying in the state of Texas, we got that Chuck, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, sir. Chuck got North Texas. And as you see, another Texas team with 2 tier 3s in North and East Texas. So recruiting bed is already hot down there. I know we'll get back to the Southern Cal here shortly, but 2 tier 3s and then a tier 2 in Oklahoma, which is pretty good. And then same thing, proximity to home should be okay there. North Texas with the surprising 2,100 NIL dynasty points. So that is a blessing right there. Good pipelines and a decent NIL package. Be good to go. Let's look at these school grades. Academic prestige, I always want to see that a little higher since that's a static. D+ athletic facilities, so you can be upgraded to the next tier, I believe, after one more upgrade. Brand exposure, again, can be changed. Campus lifestyle, C-. We can live with it. It's not the worst, it's not the best. And then program tradition, C-. C- in a program tradition for this type of rebuild everybody's doing is not bad. It's not bad. So just kind of temper your expectations to what is equivalent throughout the league. Nobody's gonna have the A's, nobody's gonna have the B's. There's a few select schools that might have them there, here or there, but that's North Texas. Moving on to Frowls. With East Carolina. East Carolina Pirates. Look at these guys. Tier 3 in North Carolina. Really good pipeline. Tier 2 South Carolina and Tidewater. And Metro Atlanta and Central Florida. So not the strongest ties, but hitting all the hotbeds. You want to get the Metro Atlanta, at least work the South Carolinas, and then the Tidewaters, Pennsylvania and Big Apple, one tier so you can get some attention. Won't be completely walled off. And then East Texas, again, proximity to home is going to be big for the Metro Atlanta, South North Carolina, and Tidewater. Going to the school grades, again, academic prestige is a D. Wish you could see it a little higher, but campus lifestyle is a C though. Program tradition is a D+. Stadium, C. I believe East Carolina is one of the bigger schools, if I'm not mistaken. I think they got close to 40 or 50,000 in the stands. So stadium atmosphere is a C. If they could fill out 60% of that, that's 30,000 fans and a decent home field advantage. East Carolina with 2,075 NIL. Again, really good package. They got some really cool uniforms, always something that I like to look at. But East Texas, Tier 1, Central Florida, Tier 2, Metro Atlanta, Tier 2, and then Tidewater, Tier 3. He can steal a lot of recruits. School grades might not be the best, but visits will be in the middle, especially from the Central Florida. But not a bad pick. And historically, East Carolina, JMU, those kind of teams that have just been running through the G5, North Texas recently. So he's going to start with a good roster and then good jumping off point. Really good jumping off point for Frowls. Speaking of JMU, we'll head right back over to it. James Madison, Tier 2 pipeline. not in love with how they did their pipeline for them to be such a quality school for the G6 for the last couple of years. Tier 2 in Tidewater, Tier 1 Big Apple, South Carolina. The shocker is Indiana, North Carolina, and then Central Florida. Same thing. Got to really depend on visits for JMU. Got a decent reach everywhere. Wish they might have had something just a little further west in Texas. Big Apple is a little better than people tend to think about, so to have one in there is great. But yeah, running Tier 2 in Tidewater, a little low in the Carolinas, but moving on, you gotta make sure you knock out those visits. So week 4 through 7 probably gonna be really big for JMU, and we'll see, because that'll be probably the start or first couple of games and conference moving in. Let's go look at some of these school grades. Academic pressure is a C minus, so anything C right there or higher, love to see. Static grades. Campus lifestyle, again, C, love to see it. Conference prestige will change again. Program tradition, not the best. I know they're newer as far as moving up to the G6, but they have been. I think Kurt Signetti was at JMU, and then the coach for UCLA was at JMU, so they're on the up and up. And then they have D for stadium atmosphere. Get on some winning streaks. That could also change. Athletic facilities, D minus. Not great to see, but it's great to see. Potential to move up, and you don't have far to move up to go get the next tier. So 880 points in NIL, a little disappointing for a program if you've been paying attention real world to be doing as well as they're doing. A little disappointing at 880, but good school. I see them coming along. Finesse got a good pick with JMU, especially their roster. I know their roster is really good for what we're doing now. Next one, Marshall. Cam took Marshall. Looking at Marshall, they might have some really underrated pipelines as far as they're reaching. They got Tier 2 in Ohio, Kentucky, which is not a hotbed, but also produces a decent amount of talent. Right now, Kentucky, I believe, is the only person that has Tier 4 or 5 in that state. So to be able to hit that off of there is pretty good. Tidewater, South Carolina, West Virginia, and then the big 3, Central Florida, South Florida, and Metro Atlanta. Big time to have Tier 2 in that. So be able to pull talent from most of the East Coast, at least most of the hotbeds, most of where the talent is coming from, who's producing the most talent. Marshall, school grades. I don't love the F in the academic prestige. As these kind of institutions, I have a hard time that the game would give people Fs, but I gotta understand it. Gotta bounce it out somewhere. Athletic facilities a D plus. Brand exposure D plus like that. Campus lifestyle C. Stadium atmosphere D plus. Program tradition C minus. So for them being 2.5 stars, I know they also have a decent roster, some key pieces, but 1,705 dynasty points. If that holds true, that is big. School grades might not be the greatest, but the game is saying, hey, you got something to work with, especially being able to hit all of those pipelines. That will be something really good to look forward to, something to work on. So looking forward to see what Cam can do with Marshall. Moving on next to Army. I believe J-Roth has Army, one of the service academies, and it might be one of the better pickups as far as spread of talent that they can get. The spread of talent they can get is quite impressive. they're not super strong anywhere, but they can go get some talent out of Southern Cal, North Texas, and East Texas, Tier 2, Central Florida, and Metro Atlanta. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just go check. East Texas, North Texas, Southern Cal, Metro Atlanta, and Central. So they got Tier 2 and all top 5 pipelines here. So good to see. There's no excuse to say we can't do it, because you have the reach to. Got the reach. And then on top of that, one of the most dynasty points in this league right now, 2,640. So not only does he have the reach, he has the resources. And then on top of that, I'm not going to say this is an easy rebuild, but y'all see that green letter right there, an A+ in anything. Phenomenal. It's going to make it easier to just hit the ground running as long as he's winning games. Winning enough games, hit the ground running with an A prestige. I mean, you should realistically never fall below a 1.5 star. Stadium atmosphere isn't great, but look at this, A+, and then B for program tradition. Campus lifestyle is a C-, but man, that A+ there and that B+ or that B there, big, real big. So if Army can't get it done, then it's on J-Roth, realistically. No excuse not to be able to get it done. You got all the resources. And I want to say you have to step up on a lot of programs, especially with that A academic, the static grade, you can't change that. And then B program tradition. Gotta expect big things out of J-Roth, and if not, then it's really only one person to point at. Only one person to point at if that is the case. Moving on to UNLV running Rebels. Taken by Maul. So let's not forget they are in Nevada, but looking at their pipelines, a good spread. That the Tier 3 in Southern Cal, again, you're starting to see these Southern Cal teams pop up more and more, a lot of G6 teams over there. Tier 2 in Nevada, Tier 1 in Northern Cal, Tier 2 in Pacific Northwest, and then the good one, Tier 2 in East Texas and Tier 1 in North Texas. So let's not forget, these visits aren't going to be very expensive. Northern Cal, Southern Cal, they're all just coming right here. So it's not going to be a big thing. But to have that Tier 2 in Texas, visits will be more expensive, but you got the ability to get it done. Some of these secondary pipelines can make or break some of these programs, and we got to see if people will take advantage. Like, man, you got Tier 2 in East Texas, you might be able to get a 91 speed wide receiver out of from somebody's nose that's not paying attention in Texas. Might be able to snag some real good talent here out of your main pipeline, and then just grab a visit early, see what you can do. Going over to their dynasty points, 1,100. Don't love it, but that's what you got to work with. Southern Cal, you should be able to bring in a lot of people, hopefully. And then moving on to the school grades. Academics prestige, never love to see it. They're all college institutions, you know. D-. Stadium atmosphere, again, they play in, is it Allegiant Stadium, wherever the Raiders play in Vegas. So they got upwards of 60,000, 70,000 able to fill seats. So that D- might not be as bad, but at the same time, not the greatest that you want to see. A program tradition D-, got a chance to change that. And campus lifestyle is C+. So, and athletic facilities D+ as well. So we got some bright spots. Just need to know where to focus to take over, and then moving forward, I think you might be okay. Not a bad setup with UNLV at all. So good luck to them all with that one. And then the latest change we had with somebody taking over Colorado State. Switched over to Colorado State. Look at these pipelines, a little bit all over the place. But again, Tier 3 for Colorado. If you could win your home state, I believe you have the strongest pipeline in Colorado. Because if I'm not mistaken, regular Colorado only has a Tier 2 in all of their pipelines. So dominate Colorado. Make sure you don't have any talent leaving that state. You'll be all right. Looking now, you got North Texas and Southern Cal and Tier 2s. Again, not the strongest, but strong enough to pull some 3 stars. Also, visit should be okay. Your visit should be okay. Big Apple, North Florida, Central Florida, Louisiana, and Metro Atlanta, enough to get some recruits' attention. This is going to be a little more expensive, but enough to get some recruits' attention, and you might be able to sneak some stuff. Colorado State with a good NIL package, 2,140. So, on the up and up, love to see it. Here we go. C- academic prestige, C campus lifestyle. Gotta love to see stuff above D's. Athletic facilities D plus, real close to getting that next level. Stadium atmosphere D plus. I know they just got a new stadium, I think 35-ish, because a lot of teams are rebuilding after that same concept. But program tradition B plus, championship contender. Good, decent grades across the board for what we're looking at, and could quickly become a problem as long as people are not paying attention or just winning enough games. Winning enough games kind of solves absolutely everything, and you'll be all right. So this right here, dynasty points, real big. The ability to have 2,100 points off rip is going to be the difference maker for some of these bigger schools with the bigger budgets. If they can just hold on and win a couple games, they will be all right. So Colorado State, good switch, respected. Not sure if he did the research or somebody put the bug in his ear, but either way, I like it, especially for a person that probably wasn't necessarily looking at Colorado State that well. To have backup pipeline, Southern California, North Texas, love it. So hope to see them do well. Next up, Utah State. Let's see what Utah State is working with. Tier 2, and I'm sorry if I'm skipping over some of their main pipelines. Tier 1, Utah. And if you're not hip, the color coding is right there. So Tier 1, Nevada, Arizona, East Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma, and North Carolina. So again, enough to get the recruits' attentions, enough to be on a couple people's boards. Tier 3, got to make sure you win your state. Always a big thing if you can. Win your state. You can do that. You should always have a decent basis of what you need to do next. Then you got Southern Cal, Tier 2, Utah, not a far flight. So that location-based visits should be really helpful, especially for the Southern Cal kids. And then Pacific Northwest works both ways. Kind of splitting the difference between both of them. So hopefully your visits are 30 points max from those areas. And then Oklahoma, North Texas, and East Texas, having a Tier 1 pipeline, easy enough to steal a couple of recruits. Again, I'm going to keep hammering it home. These backup pipelines, if they're producing a lot of talent, will be the place to get a couple of recruits. Go see if you can steal a decent running back. Go see if you can steal some corners, some linemen. They produce a lot of talent. There will be 3 stars that go unrecruited. So just take a peek, get some talent in. Like, man, it's going to have talent unrecruited as long as you're putting in the work, especially going over 2,075 dynasty points. Great top of the league. You see a 2 in front of that number, you got some stuff to work with, especially if you just want to upgrade or just add some people to the roster as far as your staff. Going down to the school grades, academic prestige, don't love the D- since it's a static, but a low D already on a 2 stars can be upgraded, and especially with 2,000 dynasty points, if you say I'm gonna upgrade my facilities year 1, spending 750 dynasty points, go for it. Say forego the staff, upgrade the facilities so I can get the extra NIL points rolling into next year. Might not be a bad thing. So excited to see what dudes are doing as far as strategy wise. Brand exposure, D-, that could be upgraded a little easier this year. Championship contenders based on the roster, so decent roster. Conference prestige will change. Program tradition and stadium atmosphere, not the greatest, but again, it's the grind for a reason. There is potential. As Chris Turk said, potential, if you watch Rush Hour. So Riz took over, Sincere took Utah State for that one. Moving on to the next one. I thought for a G5 school is a really good sleeper team, but I am just partial to the school. And then Buffalo Bills, 88, took over GA Southern. So let's take a look at it. Tier 3 in South Georgia. Not a lot of teams have Tier 3 in South Georgia. You will be battling with I think Tennessee and Auburn, who shares really strong pipelines down there. But to have Tier 3 South Georgia, then the backup pipelines, keep talking about it, Metro Atlanta, Alabama, and Central Florida. The great part about GA Southern, no visits should be more than 30 points if you're pulling from those. Metro Atlanta's close, that might be 10-20 points. Alabama, 10-20 points. Central Florida might be 30 points. But we're talking middle of the hotbed. Louisiana might be your expensive one. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina. And then North Florida, not the strongest pipeline, but 10 points on a visit. So make sure you're paying attention to your visit points. And then on top of that, you're in a hotbed of talent right there. Got to take advantage of your visits. I think that will be the big thing for GA Southern. Taking advantage of the locality to the recruits. Looking at their dynasty points, 965. Not the greatest, not a lot. So I think this is our first team under 1,000. So got to be a little more stringent with those dynasty points. Are we going to spend them to retain people? You going to let 2 stars go? You going to let 3 stars go? Are you able to bring in more recruits than you have to let go? I know Bag is talking about only losing 8 recruits. So I don't know if he's going to run a couple tests first to see if he's going to readjust that, but we will see. Going down to school grades again, not a big fan of this F academic prestige in general. Secondary education is a big thing for most people. So to be like, oh, you suck, I guess it has to be a scale of something. So athletic facilities is a D, easily upgradable. Just got to be a little more careful, not having as many dynasty points. Campus lifestyle is a C though. Love to see that one, especially for GA Southern. Moving on, stadium atmosphere is not the greatest, not the best program tradition, but again, only 1 F. Championship contender just speaks more onto the roster, but that can be changed. I'm big on next year. I'm big on year 3 to 5. I don't necessarily care as much for this year, because after this year, you're going to have transfers and you're going to be able to replace dudes. So bring in who you want. I rarely am looking at he's on the roster now, because it's like going to a program specifically for the coach and the coach only. What happens if that coach gets another job? What happens if that coach leaves? So here we are. Athletic facility is a D. Campus lifestyle, I'm loving it, is a C. And then stadium atmosphere, D-, but program tradition. So looking good there. Buffalo Bills, I do I was a fan of the pick when I seen it. I think it's a little underrated. Might be a touch high, but if that's who you wanted, glad you got him. Excited to see it. Moving on to Tulsa next, and Heavy D. Heavy D getting some real good picks out here, man. Especially at where he's picking. Got Oklahoma in a similar location in the league. So moving on, Tulsa, let's look at it. In Oklahoma, one of the Midwest teams, got a tier 2 in Oklahoma, tier 2 North Texas, but tier 3 in East Texas, which is big. Tier 1 in Southern California, be able to grab some of those. North Florida, Tennessee, and then Michigan is a surprising one for me. But again, strong ties to East Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma. Visits are key. But at the same time, for Tulsa, let's refocus for them. 2,960 dynasty points. Quite a lot. Might be the most in any school for this league. 2,960 dynasty points. He might come off the rip being able to recruit 1,600 points just on recruiting. Or he said, I'm only going to spend 900 on recruiting. Spend the 750 to go down here and say, you know what? While I got the points, upgrade my facilities. Get that to a C minus. Next you know, he's in the next tier, bumping up to 2.5 stars. You got to get that engine moving. Get the dynasty points moving while you can. Don't love, well, D+. Academic prestige isn't horrible. C minus campus lifestyle. So decent balance here, especially with the dynasty points. Get the athletic facilities up quickly. Stadium atmosphere is at a D. Okay, but it's the grind. We're not really expecting a raucous crowd all the time. Program tradition is a B though. Love to see that. So quality grades. You got something yellow here, so I'm not mad at it. But the big hitter here, dynasty points, 2,960. Should be able to make some shake relatively quickly. Just got to win games again. Above all else, winning games will solve a lot of problems. But having a tier 1 Southern Cal, North Florida, just being able to get some of those recruits' attention and not being in a horrible location, being in the Midwest in Oklahoma, to get some recruits up there. So big pick at 15 for Heavy. Moving on to the newest team in the game. I don't know if they have. Nope, I don't believe they have them. Let's see if they have them down here. Okay, so not sure what we have for North Dakota State, but Cam got him. Big Sky in Minnesota. Ooh. That's all we got. Minnesota and Big Sky. It's going to be a little tougher, just off the rip. And then I would assume they have less than 1,000 dynasty points. So, step 1, dominate Minnesota recruiting. Absolutely have to dominate Minnesota recruiting. Even though you don't have a pipeline there, probably Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois kind of probably need to be your second pipeline. Sorting by state, go in there, see what you can grab, just because if you can get them on a visit, you might be all right. Maybe something from Oklahoma, Missouri, that area, but it's not going to be an easy one. But if you think a little outside the box, anything is possible. Like I said, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio might be a little stretch, but Missouri, Oklahoma, kind of try to focus on getting stuff out of there, even though you don't have a tier there. You might be able to get some cheaper visits, and then moving on, eventually maybe possibly upgrade pipelines a couple years down the line. But not much information on North Dakota State, but I'm excited to see what they can do. Glad that they're finally in the game. I know that they've been a big proponent in 1AA or D2, however you want to say it, winning championships, producing NFL talent. So they're no scrub. So hopefully we can see them do really well this year. Moving on to Nate. With UTSA, running Rebels. Or are they the Roadrunners? I think they're the Roadrunners. Either way, UTSA, Tier 3 in Southwest. Not producing the most, but the fact that you got a Tier 3 in Southwest, but letting that Tier 3 roll into East Texas is absolutely phenomenal. Got to get Southwest, your area. There's another team out there, but that is your area. You got to make sure you get those main recruits out of Southwest Texas, and then make sure you're getting all the stuff that you can from North and East. That's your area. No, you don't have a lot of Southern Cal, but location might not be too horrible to get some talent out of Southern Cal. So, Texas. That's where you got to dominate. That's where you got to get your recruits on. There is plenty of talent. There will be people that go unrecruited. Again, let's go look at it real quick. East Texas, 7% of 3 stars out of the whole game is coming out of East Texas. Who are they producing? Offensive line should be good there. Defensive line, corners, you're getting them. You got 7% athletes, safeties, corners, wide receivers, running backs. So a little rough. I know you only got a 2-star, but same thing. Look, you go get a quarterback from North Texas. There you get your running back, more wide receivers, some more safeties. You get your linebackers, your defensive line. So just be on it, be paying attention. UTSA is in a great location as far as recruiting wise, and then a good NIL package, 1,400 points. Nothing to sneeze at. Academic prestige is a D. Athletic facilities is a D. Again, you got that D right on the borderline with being upgraded if you want to focus on that. Campus lifestyle is a C in Southwest Texas. Absolutely phenomenal. That being a static grade for a school like that. So glad to see it. And then stadium atmosphere is a D. Program tradition is a D. You could change that with a couple wins, man. So lock in and you'll be all right for UTSA and Nate. Next one. This was the big one. This was a last minute change after we got some more information yesterday. I think it was not even 5 minutes. And when I say not even 5 minutes, 5 minutes might be like gracious. Bag put that in there, saw the stuff. He said Fresno State is available. Immediately, somebody jumped on it. And who was that somebody? RSA. He said, let me get him. And he went and got him. I'm not mad at it. Again, another California team. But the difference in this one, Tier 3 in Northern California and Southern California. That's all you need. You can get all your talent from right here. And being that you're a little further up the coast, access to the Pacific Northwest, visits might be a little cheaper. Nevada, Arizona, not producing a bunch of talent, but again, and then the East Texas pipeline, just being able to do enough to get some of these recruits' attention. You're going to be able to snag some people that go unrecruited. Loving that. Big pickup. Allowing that last minute. 2,000, almost 3,000 dynasty points. In Southern Cal, Northern Cal, with a good stadium. C- atmosphere. Look at them. B minus conference or program tradition. Athletic is a D plus. Academic, like, man, this being around in the chat paid off for your boy. Big time, big time, big time. Make sure you snagging the recruits out of Southern Cal. I know it's gonna be a bloodbath over there, but keep it working. Fresno State might be one of those teams we see at 3 stars rather quickly, and I'm here for it. Good uniforms. I know Battle of the Valley. I know they got a couple of different. I think they got 3 or 4 different rivalries. Especially all those California teams got a rivalry with each other. So get them additional NIL points. You might have 3-4 rivalry games in a year. I think 2 of them have trophies, if I'm not mistaken. So loving that. Not much to speak on. Massive potential, massive NIL bag. Massive potential, massive NIL bag. Go do it. Especially for being in the chat, paying attention. I absolutely enjoy seeing dudes get the win, you know? So, get the upgrade. Next one is Troy. Don't believe I've ever seen them taking in a league, but I'm here for it. I'm here. Cowboy took Troy at 19. 3-tier in Alabama. Alabama actually produces some talent, being able to have tier 2 with Atlanta and South Georgia. Again, big on these secondary pipelines. Secondary pipelines, a little more than just getting attention. Got real interest from these dudes. Central Florida, North Florida. That's your getting attention tier. Being able to just be like, hey, if nobody else is really doing it, I got something for you. You're in Alabama, so visits shouldn't be too crazy. You might be able to sneak a couple things out of East Texas, maybe Louisiana, maybe Mississippi. So NIL package 1,500 points. Not the best, but not the worst. It might be just enough to get you where you need to go. Win a couple games, you'd be all right. Again, winning solves everything. Winning solves everything. Again, not a big fan of the F Academic Prestige. Athletic facilities can be upgraded though. Brand exposure be a little faster to upgrade this year. Program tradition is a C+. Stadium atmosphere D+. So we got to focus on the positive, guys. This C+, D+ here is going to rock for him right now. These D+ can be upgraded. C+ can be upgraded. He can get that to a B. Bring up the stars a little bit. Now you bring up the athletic facilities. Now you're at a 2.5 star. Win a couple games, year 4 or 5. Now you might be able to upgrade a pipeline. A tier 2 in Central Florida, tier 3 in Southern and Atlanta, South Georgia and Atlanta. You know, maybe you might be able to unlock a tier 1 depending on how you build your coach. I like it. Just again, you gotta look for the positives, look for the potential. A lot of these teams have really, really good potential. Winning games solves it, but winning games can unlock the potential, and the potential will start to roll. Next thing you know, you're at 3 stars. You're at 3 stars, you get more NIL bag. More NIL bag, upgrade facilities, better recruits. So, like the Troy pick, haven't seen it a lot. Love the colors, but Cowboy, hope you do your thing down there, man. Moving on to the next team, Toledo in Ohio. So that's Okenzo back at it. So looking at their pipelines, I like this right here. I like this combo. This tier 3 in Ohio and this tier 2 in Michigan. Excuse me. Then Central Florida tier 2. And then just look, enough to get everybody's attention in this little area. Pennsylvania, Big Apple, Indiana, Illinois. Enough to get these recruits' attention. Visits shouldn't be wildly expensive. Michigan, let's go look at Michigan pipeline. Let's see what Michigan is. Doesn't say they produce a lot of the talent, but they are producing. Look at that. Running back, quarterback, wide receivers, and then right here, defensive line. I know I was Michigan last year, so I was big on. I always had a good D line. Linebackers, cornerbacks. You could build a lot of that team from right there. A lot of that team from right there. And then in your main pipeline, same thing. O-line, 18% cornerbacks, 20% of linebackers. Like you got the ability to go get the talent. Got the ability to win some games, and then Central Florida scoop up some of them faster dudes. Got a 92 speed 3-star. Might be able to snag him up. South Florida might be able to snag a speedster. He might be 5'9", $150, but he might be 93 speed. That'd be game changing. As far as kick returns, that could change a game right there. Looking at your school grades, D- for academic prestige, athletic facilities D, right on that borderline. Brand exposure sucks, but they give you an opportunity once you start winning games to change stuff. C- a campus lifestyle, great for where you're at. Stadium atmosphere is D+. Program tradition is a C. Gotta just take the positives. This D, I can upgrade that. The campus lifestyle, C- in Ohio, absolutely will take that. It'll get a little cold. You might get a snow game here or there. Gotta take that. Stadium atmosphere for not being a overwhelmingly great stadium, a D+, I'll take that. Program tradition, C, straight a flat C, we'll take that. And then you come up here and look at almost 1,700 NIL points. That is a very good base. A very good base on what needs to be happening, on what you might want to do moving forward. And again, these tier 1s aren't the greatest, but it's enough to get the attention. Maybe tier 2 in Michigan, enough to steal some people from Michigan. Do what you can, and you be more than all right for Toledo. Moving on to the next one. Corey got such a pick at 21. Such a good pick at 21. I was shocked that they sat this long. Shocked that they sat this long. And we're talking about Oregon State. Just sat till 21. The Pacific Northwest, Tier 3. Northern Cal, Tier 2. Southern Cal, Tier 3. And then the same thing. Look where the Tier 1s are at. Central Florida, get some attention. East Texas, North Texas, Minnesota, Illinois. So being able to scoop a couple of recruits from under somebody's nose. And then Southern Cal got a real battle down here. Can get some recruits from Northern Cal, and then I'll be battling with them in the Pacific Northwest to get some recruits. Him being in Oregon might be better. Just the fact that the visit might not be as far for the Northern Cal guy as the Southern Cal guy. It might be a 30, depending on where in Southern Cal. So great pickup at 21. Just 2,500 points. NIL, got enough to wiggle around. Might get some different staff. Might up the recruiting hours. Might do practice facilities. However you want to do it. Moving down, academic prestige, C-. Gotta love it. Athletic facilities already at a C. Brand exposure, C-. Campus lifestyle, C. Like C's across the board. Conference prestige will change. We'll know that. Stadium atmosphere. Believe it or not, the stadium's only 30-something thousand people, so not the biggest, but having a C there already, doing one of the better platforms to jump off of. So potential on potential on potential. Got a great place to start off of and move forward, especially at 21. At 22, we got BG picking up one of the service academies. And another sleeper. Another sleeper as far as service academy go. Location is not the best, but look at where they got the pipelines at. Tier 2 Southern Cal, Tier 2 Pacific Northwest, Tier 2 North Texas, Tier 2 East Texas, Tier 1 North Florida. This is more than just getting people's attention. This is real interest from all these areas. And then being centrally located, you might be able to, North Texas, scoop somebody up on a 30-point visit. Scoop somebody up on a 20-point visit. Arizona, same thing. Southern Cal's a little far, so that visit still might be 30 or 40. But the fact that he can just, doesn't have to dominate one area, but does have to make sure his attention is precisely placed on where it needs to be. Having so many different pipelines, being able to just go get you a receiver from East Texas, go get your quarterback from Southern Cal, go get you a lineman from the Pacific Northwest, might get you a receiver from out here, might get you a running back. Not bad at all. And then having 1,850 points in the NIL, great for what it is. And then you go down here, what do we talk about? Static grades. That will always keep your floor high. Academic prestige at an A, stadium atmospheres at a D, program traditions at a D. But having this A here, I can upgrade this. This could get better. C- isn't bad. Those two together might keep this at lowest a 1.5 star. Who knows? You win a couple of games, might be 2.5 stars. Brand exposure go up. Next thing you know, program tradition go up. Get a couple of playoff wins. This could be a 3.5 star cool school in 4 or 5 years if he goes on a run. So, liking where that was headed. Really good. The service academies are a little underrated, I believe, as far as their static grades because of what they can offer. Let's see if this is. They got FIU, but don't have FAU on here. Oh, they got them. Florida Atlantic. Okay. We're in here now. Florida Atlantic is next up with Waters. Able to get Southern Florida, Central Florida Tier 3, Northern Florida Tier 2. Again, Metro Atlantic Tier 2. Getting real interest from those recruits. Good location. You probably got campus lifestyle at an A. You got an A something, so can never be too upset there. 1,230 points. Just a good location, a good program, good building blocks. Academic prestige isn't the greatest, but this campus lifestyle is going to replace that. Stadium atmosphere D-. Program tradition a little lower, but again, right here, this campus lifestyle is going to do a lot of work for you. And as long as you can capitalize on the rest of it with a decent NIL package, you will be okay moving forward. Especially with your Tier 3 in Central Florida and South Florida. North Florida is not the greatest, but real interest coming from those recruits, especially Metro Atlanta as well. Good. And what are we talking about here? Potential. You got the building blocks to do it. Recruits aren't going to be expensive to get on visits, especially the Florida ones. There's going to be a lot of competition down there with the CPU, but nothing that you can't handle. Be more than willing to see that you'll be all right out there. Who is next? We are at number 24. Burning through these already. To the great state of Hawaii. Got Tier 2 in Southern Cal, Tier 2 in North Texas. Love that already. And then Tier 1. So the pipelines aren't the greatest, and all them visits are going to be expensive. Hopefully the Hawaii recruits You get to at least keep home with the cheaper visits, which would finally be great. Hopefully they got that coded right in the game. These will be your pipelines. Realistically, it'll probably be the same thing for North Texas, Southern Cal as far as proximity to home. So not sweating that too much. You get enough attention from Pacific Northwest and East tiers, East Texas, Louisiana. That campus lifestyle, A plus, gonna keep you afloat. Academic prestige is D plus, so I'm cool with that. D plus athletic facilities, I know they just rebuilt those. Stadium atmosphere and the new stadium out there, C minus. Enjoying that one. Program tradition, D minus. Not the best, but something we could work with. Loving how they set this up for you. Can you recruit well? That is the only question. Recruiting will be on you. Not as much help. A lot of campus lifestyle, and if you're winning games, program tradition or championship contender might be a thing to be looking at. But Southern Cal, North Texas, not bad pipelines to have a tier 2, and then that campus lifestyle will be where you're kind of leaning on to keep your grades up. Hawaii, 1,365 points in the NIL department. In the NIL department, they will be okay. Not the worst, not the best, but again, they got a lot going for them. So next up, we are 25. Boy Wonder got Miami of Ohio. Like this pipeline as well. This Midwest kind of just got his fingers in all the pots that he can touch right now. Only thing he's missing is the Southern Florida, any of the Florida ones. But tier 3 in Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky. Tier 2, Missouri, Tennessee, North Carolina, Metro Atlanta, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Tier 1, enough to get attention, enough to grab some recruits from there. See what you can do to dominate Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky. Enough over 3 different states to bring in recruits that people aren't probably looking at as much. You got to deal with the other ones. I think you got a Western Michigan in here, but Miami of Ohio, good setup. Good setup. Not a bad NIL package, speaking of it as well. 1,400 points. So we'll say middle of the road NIL package. D minus. Program tradition is a C. Academic, C minus. Campus lifestyle, C minus. Good grades. Static grade here, static grade here, static grade, no, not static, but upgradable. D minus, able to upgrade that. That'll be boost the program up some. I like the Miami of Ohio pick. I've never deep dive into them before, but just at an overall glance, seeing what they can do, seeing what they have access to, and seeing that their NIL package, if those numbers are holding steady, I'd like the Miami of Ohio pick this late. Quite impressive now that I've actually put eyes on what they can do as far as what they have access to. Moving on, Jay got App State. Looking at his tier pipelines, North Carolina tier 3, South Carolina tier 2, Metro Atlanta, and Central Florida tier 2. So got to do what you can. North Carolina's a little rough. And now you got UNC, NC State, Clemson, Southern California, or sorry, not Southern California, South Carolina with decent pipelines in there. But not a lot of users. You got your JMU, ECU. So enough competition, but it will be a battle. Carolina might be a little more contested than I thought. But you got the Metro Atlanta, the Central Florida as your tier 2s. Being able to get some talent from out there, and then everything else. Look where he's located: Tidewater, Tennessee, Alabama, North Florida, South Florida. The visits, another person where visits can be very key for them. Get the talent on campus, cheap visits, get them in early, do what you can, and then win games. Again, I like the setup though. All the neighboring states. A couple of different tier 1s, enough to get some attention. If they go unrecruited, wouldn't be. You might be 8 on somebody's board, but you might be the only person offering them. a scholarship. So I'm liking that. Let's look at the NIL package. 1,300, middle of the road. I like it. They didn't do them dirty. Got a good NIL package. Academic prestige, not the best, not the worst though. Brand exposure D plus. I like that. Stadium atmosphere C minus. Program tradition C minus. Campus lifestyle B minus. Like that a lot. So, looking at the grades, quality pick. Quality pick, especially this late. Recruiting, a little bit of a hotbed. So I don't know if you focus on your coach and recruiting over motivator type stuff. Um, but I like it. I like it. It's going to be more of a battle down there than I thought. But again, it's anything is possible once you start winning games. And at this rank, a lot of dudes in this league have shown the ability to win games. So maybe gets off to a hot start and gets App State rolling real early. Moving on to the next one, we are at UAB. Costanza got UAB. Looking at Alabama and Metro Atlanta are your two. Tier 3 for Alabama, Tier 2 for Metro Atlanta. North Texas, Louisiana, all of Florida, Southern Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. I would have liked to see East Texas on there for Tier 1. Would have really liked to see that. I think that would have gave them a little oomph that they needed moving forward. But same thing. Look at it. Gotta try to see what you can do to lock down Alabama. Plenty of talent coming out of the Atlanta area, so make sure you're getting that since that's your Tier 2. And then them unrecruited dudes out of Florida, South Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Louisiana. You might be able to poach some dudes out of Mississippi. Cheap visits might be your thing as well. Got decent pipelines, but I would say make sure you're scouring them 3 stars to see if you can get anybody unrecruited. You probably get a couple gems that nobody's talking about, and then moving up. Looking at the dynasty points, 1,300. Again, middle of the road. Plenty to start with, enough to get busy with. Let's go to your school grades. C minus, academic prestige. C minus, athletic facilities. Good. What a start here. D plus, brand exposure. C minus, campus lifestyle. Again, the stars aren't the greatest, but the static grades and stuff that can be upgraded got real potential. On program tradition, you could change that, but these right here, academic, athletic, and campus, all C minus already. Something to work with. I like it, and I'm curious, do they still have the neon green uniforms? I know they got a couple different ones at UAB since they were working, and they do have a decent stadium. Another stadium grade, stadium atmosphere is an F, but they actually have a decent stadium. At least it's easy on the eyes. Oh, don't know if we have Western Michigan in there. Not sure why we're missing Western Michigan. They were in the game last year. Central Michigan East. There we go. So we'll do it that way. There we go. Now we're cooking with fish grease. Fish and grits in the morning. Got the Tier 3 in Michigan, Tier 2 Illinois, Tier 2 in Indiana, Ohio. So same thing. Look at the 2 Tier 3 pipelines. Got to see if you could dominate those 2. Well, what you can. Sneaky tier pipeline, Tier 1 out of Southern Florida. Get you some speed out of there. But look at this. The 2 Tier 3s, 2 Tier 3s in a G6 school. Phenomenal. Can't beat that. Missouri, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Big Apple, Wisconsin, Tennessee. No Kentucky or Western or Virginia, West Virginia. A little disappointing there, but as far as what you have access to, the two tier threes are big. Tier two is big, and then enough to just reach. You got enough to where you could almost dominate the Midwest, especially having the tier three in Michigan. I don't think we've even seen a tier three in Illinois yet. So impressed there. Like looking at that as far as building a program. You got the tier 3 pipelines, but they kind of shafted you on the dynasty points. You only got 1,000 dynasty points to mess with. So I guess I'll take the tiers over the points, because you can always get more points, especially if you stack or change how you do your staff. Early staff is going to be important on these. Off season is not just going to be, oh man, I missed week 1 of the portal. Off season, when you can fire and hire staff, is going to be huge. Such a big deal this year. Western Michigan with a D- academic prestige, athletic facilities a D again. Being able to upgrade that. Campus lifestyle is a C-. Like to see that, especially in the Western Michigan. Stadium atmosphere is a D. Program tradition D-. Don't love it, but right now for me, it's these tier 3s. These tier 3s are carrying Western Michigan for me, so I like the potential there. Really big potential for tier 3 in those pipelines. Moving on to Temple. I like Temple because of the Big Apple. Let's go search the Big Apple real quick. I think it's slightly underrated as far as what people look at. Yes, they're producing a lot of talent for the amount of people that are not recruiting out of it. You know, you got a couple of big schools, but I don't think any other small schools really have a tough pipeline out of Big Apple. 50% O-line, D-line, linebackers. Get a running back and receivers. So quarterback, not a lot. I'd like to see that number over 10%, but 5.3% of 3-stars come out of Big Apple. So strong pipeline with not a lot of competition out of Temple. And then same thing going into Tidewater in Pennsylvania, tier 2, be able to get some real talent out of there. Going down Central Florida, the tier 1. What are these home tier 1s? Just grabbing attention. You're like, hey, I know they ain't paying you attention, but come here, I got something for you. If they don't want you, I can help you out over here. Just trying to get some attention. Ain't snag a couple 3-stars, maybe a 2-star with 94 speed if you're really deep in the weeds like that, but good reach. Good stadium. Let's look at their NIL. 1,300 for Temple. Like that. 13 middle of the road, but for them to have 1,300 starting out with at a 1.5 star, like that. And then look at this. C+. What are we talking about? Static grades. Static grades at a C+. Already at a C- for athletic facilities. So you just have to maintain that. Brand exposure, win a couple of games, D+, campus lifestyle, C+. We have some really good static grades here. Stadium atmosphere, C-. Really good static grades here for Temple. Especially at, what was that, 29? Really good static grades for Temple. Like to see it, like to see what they turn into. A lot of potential, especially here. It's not the most, but I'm telling you, it's not the least. So, winning some games, good. Because you got to think, you win enough games, that's 2 stars right there. Boom. This might go up to 1,600 points. Might got an extra 300 points in NIL to mess with. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot for Temple. Who's that? Ortiz? Ortiz got Temple. So, let's go. Yes, sir. Here's the next one. We got this at 30. The Raging Cajuns. So let's just start with the pipelines. A tier 4 pipeline in anything is such a big deal in this. Not a lot of teams have tier 4, so to have a tier 4, that means when these dudes go to soft commit, it will be harder to get them to decommit because you'll hit that extra boost for the tier you have in that pipeline. Such an important thing. Tier 4 pipeline in Louisiana means you can not necessarily win this state, but you can have a strong hold on what you need to get out of that. You might have the top picks of the 3 stars that you need. And then proximity. Look at the tier 2s. North Texas and East Texas. Visits are going to be cheaper. Look at what do we call the tier 1s? Just getting the attention. Mississippi, Alabama, Metro Atlanta, North Florida. Get some speed out of there. Raging Cajuns pipeline is, if we're just talking pipelines, I would say they could be a top 15, borderline top 10 on pipe. And when I say this, pipelines alone, this school could be a top 10 team in pipelines alone. I like the pick. Let's look at their NIL, 1,100 points. That's enough. Don't forget, you can't get everything, but you got the tier 4 in Louisiana, so it's going to be hard to beat you out of some of those recruits just because of those. Academic prestige is an F. Don't love that. Athletic facilities is D-. We're saying you can upgrade that. So there's potential there to upgrade that. D+ on a stadium atmosphere. Program tradition is a D. Like that. Campus lifestyle is a C. So decent static grades, moving up through the world. I like where this is at, especially at pick 30. Really like where this is at, especially at pick 30. So, G-Cox got him at pick 30. I don't know if that was his actual, I'm pretty sure that was his actual pick. I'm pretty sure that was his actual pick. So I like that pick at 30, especially if that was his actual, if he did the research. It means these dudes were deep diving. And Marcus, however you want to say it, let me know in the chat. I think Bag did you the ultimate. At pick 31, Rice had them in the grind last year. Very partial to them. They have tier 3 in East Texas and North Texas. Them being located smack dab in the center of Houston is going to give you access to so many recruits. So many recruits. Visits should be cheap, because what you won't realize is you're going to get a lot of dudes that say Pasadena, the Woodlands, Katy, Pearlands, and what you don't realize, all those are 30 minutes away. Those are going to be 10, 20 point visits. Then you still got access to North Texas at tier 3. Another hotbed. Visits shouldn't be too crazy there anyways. You got your tier 1s. Let's look at our tier 1s. We just talked about Louisiana. Louisiana has talent. Central and South Florida, Bama, Tennessee. There's a shocking one there. Not a lot of Tennessee recruits that might even be paid attention to. Big Apple. We just looked at that. Underrated. Northern Cal and Southern Cal. So you can get some talent under there for the dudes that are getting under recruited. And let's talk about the big two right here. 2,200 points for the Dynasty. 2,200 points for a team in Texas is big. And then why I think this whole thing is even crazy at 31, academic prestige. When you have a grade like this, This always is your floor. If you think about it that way, this always is your floor. That means when you upgrade something else, when you start winning, you win enough, get that brand exposure up, get that to a C, you might be a 2-star. I don't know what happened. You might be a 2-star the next season, like immediately. I've seen it happen. I've done it. And then stadium atmosphere is a D. You can hold 47 in that stadium, so being a D isn't the worst. That means you might have 50%. That's 20,000 people out there, just because you can hold so many people. Program tradition C+. Look at the program tradition on there. That's big. That's not static, but having a C+ already. One less thing you got to worry about. Campus lifestyle C-. Brand exposure could go up with some wins. D+ on the athletic facilities. Rice is really set up to be, in my head, a 3-star school. 3-4 seasons, Rice should be a solid 3-4 school if we're winning games. Access to East, North Texas, South Florida, Central Florida, Louisiana, Big Apple, and both Californias. For me, the assignment might have been the steal of the draft outside of Oregon State, Fresno State at 18, 21 respectively. But listen, I'm a fan of the grind. I am a fan of the grind and what you could potentially turn all of these into. San Diego State, Washington State, USF, Memphis, Texas, North Carolina. Oh, sorry, I'll go back and say the name. Mace at San Diego State. I'm with Washington State. Mumbo at USF. Bag at Memphis. Boogie at Texas State. Chuck, North Texas. Fries at ECU. Finesse at JMU. Cam at Marshall. J. Roth at Army. Maul at UNLV. Riz, Colorado State. Sincere, Utah State. Buffalo Bills, GA Southern. Heavy got Tulsa. Cam, North Dakota State. Nate, UTSA. RSA, Fresno State. Cowboy with Troy. Kenzo with Toledo. Corey with Oregon State. BG with Air Force. Waters with FAU. Isaac with Hawaii. Boy Wonder, Miami of Ohio. Jay, App State. Costanza, UAB. Jazz at Western Michigan. Ortiz with Temple. G. Cox with Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, and Marquise with Rice. Appreciate all you guys being in here. If you do have any questions about Team Builder, hit up Bag, because I know there's going to be a timeline, because these teams have to be created before he can even start the league. So like team selection, he has to be able to go in there and replace the teams. So if that's something you are interested in, hit him up, because he's going to have some criteria, some guidelines. It's normally, I believe, right off the rip, same pipelines, and then same possibly rivals, and then the school grades have to be probably as close as possible. I know it's going to be a little more difficult because you can't individually pick them, but there's enough in there where you can get close enough. But looking forward to it. And if you're interested on being on the pod or hosting a pod or doing any media for the grind, please let me know, because Bag has said he's not doing it. He's not doing Game of the Week. He's not doing Grudge. He's not doing Survivor. He said there's enough on his plate for the league. So if you are interested in doing anything for the grind, content-wise, YouTube-wise, video-wise, podcast-wise, let me know. My schedule isn't the best. Usually not available during the week. You see, I'm doing a podcast early on a beautiful June 28th on a Sunday morning, just to get you guys some content. So here it is, the grind. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I know we don't always get to talk about all 32, but I was thinking about it. I was like, man, let me get these dudes some shine before we get in here, and then hopefully you enjoy it. And if not, let me know. If you ain't want to hear me talk for an hour and a half, then I guess click off, because somebody did, and I don't want to cheat the dudes that are like, man, y'all don't ever get to talk about me in the league, and then y'all finally get a grind podcast, and y'all just kind of pushing you to the side. So I think everybody, every once in a while, deserves their due. And this is me trying to get it out, especially if you don't get talked about in the league. But that's it for me. Until next time, I'm out.